Hey guys, in today's video I have another book haul for you. So I have a set of 20 books here that I'd like to share with you guys, so let's get going. The first book that I have here is The Sentinels of Andersonville by Tracy Groot. And this is Civil War historical fiction, and it's about this prison called Andersonville Prison, where apparently thousands of Union soldiers were put to death during the Civil War. And you guys, I don't read a hell of a lot of Civil War historical fiction. It's kind of an area I've never really journeyed into, but this actually sounded really good and I kind of wanted to give it a shot. Plus, I found it for like $5, so I was like, what the heck, I'll get it and see how it is. And also, this is actually considered historical Christian fiction, which I'm a little worried about because I'm not really into Christian historical fiction. But just looking at the synopsis, I don't think it's going to be like preachy Christian fiction, which is my concern, but I don't think it will be. But it does sound like a really good story, and a story that I think might get me a little more into Civil War historical fiction, perhaps. Next, I have Queen's Gambit by Elizabeth Fremantle, and this is a novel about Catherine Parr, who was the sixth and final wife of Henry VIII. Next, I have The Traitor's Wife by Alison Pataki. I hope I pronounced that right. This is historical fiction taking place during the American Revolution, and it follows Peggy Shippen, who, I guess she's the woman who turned Benedict Arnold into a traitor, apparently, and also her affair with a British man, Major John Andre. I mostly kind of picked this up, once again, kind of like with Civil War historical fiction. I've not really gotten into a lot of American Revolution historical fiction, weirdly enough. And I kind of picked this up mostly because I love the TV series Turn, starring Jamie Bell. I really like that series, and in the latest season, season 2, they introduced Peggy Shippen, and they got her whole relationship going with Major John Andre, and then, yeah, started the whole thing with her and Benedict Arnold. So, yeah, I mostly picked this up just because I loved season 2 of Turn, and thought, well, I liked her character, I'd like to read some historical fiction about Peggy Shippen. Next, I have The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman, and this is historical fiction. Takes place in Australia. It's about this man and woman. The wife has suffered through several miscarriages. She can't have children, but one day, they live like at a lighthouse. One day, a little boat washes up on shore by the lighthouse, I guess, and inside is a baby. And I think this sounds so good. I don't know anything else about this book other than that. I just know from a lot of other booktubers that this is super good. Definitely cannot wait to get to this. I love the whole premise. Next, I have The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. And I have always wanted to pick up a book by Kate Morton. I hear that she writes terrific historical fiction. This book, just kind of glancing through it quickly, it looks like some of the story takes place in the 1960s, but some of it also takes place in the 1940s, and apparently it's about this family picnic out in the English countryside, and 16-year-old Laurel, she witnesses a shocking crime. So that sounds really good. I really don't know anything else about it, but a shocking crime sounds right up my alley. Next, I have The Whiz Pop Chocolate Shop by Kate Saunders, and this is children's fiction, I think. It follows twins, Lily and Oz, and they've inherited like some chocolate shop. And their great uncles were famous chocolatiers. So, ooh, that sounds really good. Definitely can't wait to get to this. My mom actually bought this, so I stole it from her. The next book I have here is The Walking Dead, The Fall of the Governor, Part 2 by Robert Kirkman and Jay Bonasinga. In previous book hauls, I think I've hauled a bunch of these different books that take place with something with the governor in the Walking Dead series. My sister has been collecting these books. I think she still has 2 more to go. We're both waiting to collect the rest of the series before we actually start reading these. But we both love The Walking Dead and The Governor, so we can't wait to get to these books. The next books I have here is actually a trilogy, and you guys, if you watched my Historical Fiction 101, where I gave book recommendations for Ancient Egypt, I showcased these books in that video, so I'll just go through these quickly, but it's a trilogy by Nick Drake. The first book is Nefertiti. Book 2 is The Book of Shadows, Tutankhamun, and the third book is Egypt, the Book of Chaos. And apparently this trilogy, it follows an investigator in ancient Egypt, and he has to unravel some crimes going on. And my sister's actually reading the first book right now, and I think she really likes it, so when she finishes this trilogy, I'd like to read it too. Next, I have Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness, and this is book 2 in her A Discovery of Witches series. I have the complete trilogy now, so I can read it hopefully fairly soon in the near future. I managed to get this for cheap at a used bookstore, which is great. So I managed to get the whole trilogy now. I have the complete trilogy. I managed to get it for super cheap, so if I don't like this trilogy, it's not much of a loss. And I'll just repeat this again. This series, I think, is about witches and vampires and stuff like that. So yeah, a supernatural series. I think it's a contemporary series. This next book I actually won in a Goodreads giveaway, so thank you Goodreads, and this is Golden Lion by Wilbur Smith and Giles Christian. And just looking at this very quickly, it looks like it's historical fiction that takes place in Africa, maybe during, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if this is something that's taking place during the Crusades of English history, perhaps? I'm not quite sure. There's nothing really on here giving anything away. But it just says something about a man. He sees his father executed in battle, and he spends his youth avenging that death, and now he's a man with a ship and a family of his own. And it also says something about he's on a voyage along the eastern shore of Africa, an enemy abducts his wife. So yeah, not only is he avenging his father's death, he's avenging the kidnapping of his wife. And this sounds really good. I'm glad I won it on Goodreads. Next, I have The Columbus Affair by Steve Berry, and I've only read one other Steve Berry book. That one was The Romanov Prophecy. So just kind of judging off of that book, I'm assuming that this book takes place in a modern day setting, but also has a bit of historical fiction elements added in there. And yeah, I think this is just a mystery thriller. It has something to do with some mystery involving Christopher Columbus. I really loved Steve Berry's The Romanov Prophecy, so I should probably really like this as well. And his writing is almost kind of very reminiscent of something like Dan Brown, for instance. This next set of books I've actually already showcased in another video. If you watched my Disney World merchandise haul, you've probably already seen these books before, but I decided to just go ahead and put them in this haul video since this is a book haul. The first two books I have here is The Beast Within and Fairest of All, and these are YA books. Obviously, this is about the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, and this is about the Evil Queen from Snow White. And then I also have A Whole New World by Liz Braswell, and this is an Aladdin retelling. And then the last book I got at Disney was Once Upon a Time, Red's Untold Tale by Wendy Tolliver. And if you watch Once Upon a Time, this book follows Red Riding Hood, aka Ruby, and yeah, just I guess some story that the show never got around to. The next book I have is Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. I already own Bring Up the Bodies, and I've been trying to look for a paperback copy of Wolf Hall, so I finally got a copy. And this series follows Thomas Cromwell during the reign of Henry VIII. And I definitely cannot wait to get to these. I've never read a book focused entirely on Thomas Cromwell, so that should be really interesting. I typically read books, you know, focused on all of the wives of Henry VIII, so it'll be nice to focus on someone else for a change. This next book I won in a Goodreads giveaway, so thanks once again, Goodreads. And this is The Gilded Hour by Sarah Donate. This is historical fiction taking place in New York City, 1883. And it follows two women who are cousins as they both graduate from the women's medical school. One of the women, she's placed to work with these 4 children, And then the other woman, she's a obstetrician, and she's also helping some people as well. It looks like it's a pretty long, complicated plot summary here. I don't really want to go into it, but yeah, this sounds really, really good. And this last book that I have to share with you guys, I also won on a Goodreads giveaway, and this is a piece of nonfiction, and it's called The Rival Queens. Catherine de Medici, her daughter Marguerite de Valois, and the betrayal that ignited a kingdom. And this is by Nancy Goldstone. So yeah, nonfiction about Catherine de Medici and one of her daughters, I guess. Sounds really cool. I love the TV series Reign, and I've just kind of been obsessed with Catherine de Medici recently, so I really want to learn some more about her. So that's it for this book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments below if you want to read any of these books or if you have read some of them. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you liked this book haul, you may like these other book hauls. Bye guys.